Okay, so we got a couple Xbox One controllers that we're going to repair here. These are older 2013, 2014 model controllers without the headphone jack. And the basic problem I'm having is the D-pads on these two controllers aren't working properly. And also the thumbsticks themselves are a bit worn down. There is no grip left at all on the top. They're just smooth basically on the top. So what I'll first show you is what I'm talking about with the D-pad. So I have these attached here. And we're going to want to come to our game controller tester. Alright, so what we're going to do, we'll test this controller first. And we see we have our B buttons work okay, our triggers work okay, our thumbsticks work okay. And if we test all our buttons, they're all good. Now this is something I typically do after I change the LEDs like I did here, just to double check that everything is connected properly. And on this blue one, so on the blue one, the problem seems to be the right trigger. It's working actually pretty good right now. Yeah, see that occasionally it misses the clicks, but then again maybe the D button is never really that great, or the D-pad is never really that great to begin with. But yeah, see, it's missing some up presses every once in a while. Now perhaps this is going to make a liar out of me, but I know one of these controllers I was having a lot of trouble with. So let's switch over to our red controller here. We're going to hit our buttons to test it, and again we test all of our buttons. And this one, yeah, okay. So the red one, you can see there, see the bottom button. It does work if you really force it. Right there, and I'm pushing it down, it's not going. Yeah, so you can see the D-pad, particularly the down on the D-pad on this red one, is the problem. All these other buttons work okay. You can see the down, though, is definitely a problem there. Let's back out here. Move back over to our other controller. Yeah, this one I seem to recall having some trouble with the right, but it seems to be, so up is the problem on this one, not the down. So I'm pressing and it's not registering them all. So the point is, both these D-pads are not as responsive as we'd like. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace them with these guys here. So what we're going to do is replace the D-pad contacts with a couple that we purchased here on eBay. And these are called dome connectors. I'll see actually on my desktop if I'll get the eBay listing up. But as you can see, they have these little metal domes that are pressed by the plastic D button itself, and these will replace the ones in these controllers here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these controls all apart for you, and we'll get it down to the basically the same board that you have to replace the LED on is the board that we're going to want to get to, and we're going to remove the old pads and put the new ones on. And I'll try to bring up that eBay listing as well. Okay, so here is our D button replacement pad, and you can see here I got basically ordered one order is 2 pieces for $5, so that's about $2.50 to fix each D-pad. And then if we back up here, these are the thumbsticks that I ordered, which are less than $8 for 20, which works out to less than 40 cents a piece. Okay guys, so I have the number one, or the blue controller, apart here, and we have this down to our baseboard. I didn't show you the process of taking this controller apart because I have several videos already doing that. Those videos are basically pertaining to or about changing the LED on these controllers, which I've already done on this particular controller. But what I'm interested in doing is replacing this D-pad in this particular case. Now I played around a little bit with this to see about getting this off, and it seems the best way to do it, at least without with the least risk of damaging anything, is to take one of these pry tools and just work up one of the edges, which I've started to do but haven't completed yet. So we're going to just keep continuing to pull that up a little bit, and once we get enough space underneath, this is basically just a sticker. There isn't too much more to it than that, and we are basically just going to lift this up. And we keep going with it. And that's it. So it basically just lifts right off, and you can see our new pads look almost exactly the same as our old ones here. Okay, so on these guys you can see there's two notches. There's a perfectly square notch here, and then a notch that is not so square. I guess I think this would be, I want to say, a 45-degree angle here. It might be a 90-degree. Let's see, 90, 360. Yeah, so there's a 90-degree angle here, and then this is more than 90-degree, maybe 100 or 110. So the 90-degree angle goes here on the bottom. It should line up right there on the edge. And then we put down our new pad. Okay, so we're going to get our new one off this pad and onto our board. Okay, so I went ahead and took apart the other controller so that we could basically line up the new pad, or make sure that we had the pads lined up correctly. Looking closely at our other pad here, the 90-degree angle piece goes right to the edge here, or pretty close to it, and you can see it's a little bit off center, which seems to be fine. I was thinking a bit about this. It might be worth our while to clean this up a little bit with some rubbing alcohol. I don't think that would damage anything, but if it did, at least we'd learn. Okay, so we're going to use some 90%, 91% isopropyl alcohol. Not going to kill it here. I'm just going to go over the pads really quick to pick up any dirt. Although that was a pretty good sticker, I don't think dirt really can get underneath, but maybe there's some oxidation or something that's happening with the pads. A little bit of dirt came off, but that could also be some of the material off the pads themselves, but that looks pretty good. Okay, so it's cleaned up enough where we're going to put the sticker on. Now, looking at our stickers here, it's pretty easy to tell the bottom. They are domed, so the buttons themselves should be facing the top. So let's see here. So this is probably our sticky here, and then on top, I've never taken one of these out before. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we just want to basically pull this off. Don't want to rip it, so I'm trying to be careful about taking it off the pad. That seems to be pretty good. And what we're going to want to do is just line that up there in the bottom. Now, that looks pretty good. So I'm trying to center the pads with the the upper metal with the contact pads underneath, and that actually came out really good. So what we're going to want to do now is just press that down a little bit. I think we should be in pretty good shape. Make sure our buttons click. They are. And it's a pretty thick plastic, so it's not like tape, it's thicker than that. So we don't really have to apply too much pressure to get this to stick flat. It does pretty much all the work for us. And if we compare the two, you can't tell the difference. Now we'll just keep our fingers crossed that this actually is what was needed to fix this pad. Okay, so on our other pad here, so this is our 1, so we're going to put this aside. I put all the parts for our second controller here off to one side so I could keep track of each one. But so this is the one that we need to remove. And I haven't started this one, so let's get this started. Pick an edge here. These are stuck down pretty good. So I'm using here as my fingernail just to get it working here a little bit. Go back to our pry tool. There. And once we've gotten underneath enough, we should be able to pull this off completely. Okay, just comes off like that. This one has a little bit more dirt around the edges, but because of the way it's stuck, it shouldn't harm the pads themselves. But let's put that one aside, and we will clean this up again. And using our rubbing alcohol here is a little bit of marker right here. So that's where that black is. There's a little bit of marker on the edge. I don't really want to spread that over, so let's get another Q-tip. Okay, finish cleaning this up. Okay, see, that looks pretty good. Okay, get our second pad here. And again, you can feel where the button is on the top. So we're going to want to peel this back. Get it started here. We don't want to bend the pad. But we do want to at least get it to there. Once we get it started. Comes off easy enough like that. Okay, so again, we're going to try to line it up here with our bottom corner. Bring the edges as close to the edge as possible at that 45 degree or 90 degree part there. And then we're just going to rest it just ever so. Okay, I like how that looks. Looks pretty well centered. Okay, so we'll just rest this down. Okay, it all feels pretty good. Okay, so now all that's left is to get our controllers back together again and test these guys out. And one other thing that I'll show you guys here is our D-pads. And I'll take a picture here. That'll probably be our thumbnail of all of the old versus new. I'll put the old on top, the new on the bottom. And let you guys see a close-up of what these look like. Okay, so another part of this video is actually replacing the thumbsticks. So at this point we would be just about ready to put our faceplate on and then put our screws back in the bottom here. So at this point all we've done is taken off these side grips, both these grips here, and then taking out the 5 screws and then taking the faceplate off. So at this point we can actually add our thumbsticks, which we're going to do here. So these are new thumbsticks. which will add to the effect here. So we have a new D-pad, which seems to be working great, and our thumbstick. So we will finish putting this back together, and then I'll show you this in action, and then I have to do the same thing with the first controller as well. So we'll get both of these back together again. Okay, so we've got both controllers back together, and let's get them both turned on. And let's try them out. So we will get stuff out of the way here. And these here are old dome pads, which we'll toss. All this stuff here, we'll get this out of the way. Then we have our old sticks out of the way here. If you can see, these were worn down. There isn't any real texture left on the top there. And that's true with all four of these. Okay, so let's swap over here. So we'll start with the blue and just test all of our buttons still working. Okay, now let's test our D-pad. So far so good. It's been my experience that with this particular tool, if you miss even one button press, there's a problem. These controllers are very accurate and should register everything. Okay, so that looks good. The red controller I had a little more issue with in terms of the more obvious button, or the most obvious direction that wasn't functioning was the down arrow. And we can see here, works every time. If I press it down, it doesn't disconnect. Okay, so there you go. So that's the D-pad repair on an Xbox One controller. Again, these were the older model controllers. These have seen some use, as you can tell by the condition of the thumbsticks and the D buttons. But that said, these are very durable controllers, and they aren't that difficult to repair. $2.50 for the D-pad, or to fix the D-pad, and then about 40 cents for each thumbstick. So overall, about $7 worth of parts. Of course, and when you buy them in greater quantities, you can get that kind of deal, but that's about what the price is for what it was to fully repair both of these controllers. And you can see on this one, D-pad works great. This one, I think the up was giving me some trouble, but at this point, everything's perfect. All right, so that's basically the controller repair I wanted to show you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video.